I spent the night in a fire lookout tower. Something else was already up there. I took the fire lookout job because I needed the money and didn't mind being alone. The pay was decent for sitting in a room and watching for smoke. They told me the previous guy quit without notice, left all his stuff behind. People quit jobs all the time. The tower was 40 miles from the nearest town, down a logging road that turned to mud when it rained. It had rained that morning. My supervisor, Dale, drove me up for my first overnight shift. He didn't talk much, just pointed out landmarks and explained the radio protocol. Channel 6 for emergencies. Channel 9 for check-ins every 4 hours. The tower rose 90 feet above the forest canopy. Metal and wood, built in the 50s. The stairs spiraled up the outside, flexing slightly under my boots. Dale was breathing hard by the time we reached the top. The cabin was 12 feet square, windows on all sides, a bed, a desk with the radio and logbook, a propane stove, and a chemical toilet behind a partition. Dale showed me the fire finder and where the spare batteries were kept. He said the previous guy had left food in the cabinet, but I should throw it out. "Why'd he leave so fast?" I asked. Dale shrugged. Didn't say. Just left a note saying he was done. He descended without ceremony. I watched his truck disappear into the trees. Then it was just me and the forest and the wind. The first few hours were fine. I made coffee and scanned the horizon through binoculars. The view was incredible. Ridge after ridge, fading to blue in the distance. I did my first check-in at 6 p.m. A woman's voice acknowledged and clicked off. I opened the logbook to record it. The previous entries were routine. Weather conditions, visibility. But the handwriting got shakier toward the end. The last entry was from 5 days ago. It just said, "It was here first." I stared at that line. Then I started my own log. People wrote weird things when they were isolated. The sun set around 8. I heated soup and ate watching darkness fill the valleys. I switched off the lamp and used my headlamp instead. The windows had turned to mirrors. That's when I heard it. A creak from the corner behind me. The sound of weight shifting on wood. I turned, shining my headlamp across the room. Nothing there. Just the bed, the partition. Old buildings make noise, metal towers in the wind. I sat back down. 20 minutes later, same corner. Same creak. The wind had died down. I tried to read but kept glancing at that corner. The shadows there seemed darker than they should be. I told myself it was just the distance from my headlamp. At 10 p.m., I did my second check-in. Everything was clear. Dispatch asked if I was settling in okay. I said yes. After I hung up, I heard something else. Breathing. Not mine. Slower. Deeper. Coming from inside the room, I held my breath. The other breathing continued. I swept my headlamp across every surface. The room was empty. 12 by 12 feet. Nowhere to hide. I checked behind the partition, under the bed. Nothing. But I could still hear it. I stepped onto the catwalk into the cold air. My hands were shaking. I walked the perimeter, looking for any way something could be clinging outside. The stairs spiraled down into darkness. Nothing. When I came back inside, the breathing had stopped. I sat at the desk and tried to think rationally. Isolation. Stress. The brain fills in gaps, creates patterns. I decided to stay calm and do my job. I logged temperature and visibility. I scanned the horizon with night vision binoculars from under the desk. No fires, no smoke. I put them back and noticed something. The cabinet where the previous guy left food. It was open. Just an inch. I was sure it had been closed before. I walked to it slowly. Inside were cans of beans, crackers, instant coffee, normal supplies. But pushed to the back was a folded piece of paper. I unfolded it. Same shaky handwriting from the logbook. It doesn't like the light. Keep the lamp on. Don't look up when you hear it moving. It was here before the tower. We built on top of it. My mouth went dry. I turned on the lamp. The brightness hurt my eyes, but I left it on. The windows became mirrors again, and I couldn't see outside anymore. And something was wrong with my reflection. In the window behind me, there was a shadow in the corner that didn't match anything in the real room. I didn't turn around. The note said not to look up. The shadow moved, not quickly, just shifted, like someone adjusting position after standing too long. I kept my eyes on the window's reflection. The shadow was tall, taller than the ceiling should allow. Didn't have a clear shape. It looked like the absence of something, like a hole in the air. The radio crackled. Tower 6, this is dispatch. Unscheduled check. You doing okay up there? I reached for the mic without turning around. My hand shook. This is Tower 6. There's something. The shadow moved closer in the reflection. Not walking. Just suddenly nearer. Tower 6, you're breaking up. Repeat? I couldn't speak. The shadow was right behind me now. The breathing started again, right by my ear. I'm fine, I said. Everything's fine. Thought I saw smoke, but it was nothing. Copy that, Tower 6. Next check-in at 0200. The radio clicked off. I sat frozen. The shadow stayed behind me. The breathing continued. And slowly, I noticed other things. The smell. Wet earth and something older. The temperature dropping, even with the heater running. The feeling of being watched from above, even though I was the highest point for miles. The note said it was here before the tower, that we built on top of it. Dale had mentioned during the drive that locals used to avoid this ridge. He'd laughed, like it was superstition. I hadn't asked why. At 2 a.m. I did my check-in. My voice sounded steady. Dispatch asked if I wanted to report anything. I said no. What would I report? Shadows? Breathing? They'd think I was unstable. So I said nothing. The shadow stayed behind me until dawn. I never looked away from the window's reflection. I watched the sky lighten, the stars fade, the forest emerge from darkness. When the sun rose, the shadow was gone. I turned around quickly. Empty. The corner looked normal, just wood and walls and morning light. I went outside and breathed cold air. My legs were stiff, my eyes burned, but I'd made it through. Dale picked me up at 8 a.m. I didn't tell him what happened. I just said it was quiet. He asked if I wanted another shift. The pay was good. They were short-staffed. I looked up at the tower as we drove away. Just metal above the trees. Nothing strange in daylight. I told Dale I'd think about it. But I keep thinking about that note. It was here before the tower. Not it came here. Not it arrived. It was here first. Fire lookout towers don't get built randomly. They get built on high points. Places with significance. Places people have noticed for thousands of years. Places where something might have been living or watching long before we arrived. Dale called this morning. They need someone for Tower 6 tonight. The last guy they sent quit after one shift. Didn't explain why, just left his stuff and walked down. They're offering double pay. I told him I'd call back, but I keep thinking about the note. Keep the lamp on. The lamp was off when I found it, which means the previous guy had turned it off at some point, or something else had. And I keep wondering, if you're not supposed to look up when you hear it moving, where exactly is it moving to?